Welcome back to the Rewind Sports 60, streaming live on Facebook Live. Now let's get you back to the hottest sports panel in Chicago.
Hello, Chicago!
Lock it in.
So many animals.
Welcome back to Rewind Sports 60, Jerry Riles. Marty, come on in here. Don't shy away. You're the man on the street. You need to be a part of the beat. Danny Carlino, the Italian Stallion. We're joined by another former Cub, Rich Nye. Picture Rich Nye with the Cubs back on 66 to 69.
That's right, Jerry.
There you go. Thank you so very much for joining us on the program. We welcome you. You look fantastic. How are you?
Thank you. I am wonderful. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you coming on out here to Saranello's. Did you get some grub in your gut?
That's coming.
Okay.
That's coming.
They got enough for you.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you stop by the Carbon Station, Derek McIntyre over there, and get yourself a fun-loving waffles for sure.
Wonderful.
Fun-loving waffles. So, how is everything going for you personally right now? What's going on with you?
Fabulous. When I left baseball, I got into the veterinary profession, and for the last 43 years, I've been doing small animals, mostly exotic pets, probably exotic pets for the last 35 years. And people say, what's an exotic pet? It is a non-dog and cat that you can bring into your home or into the practice. So if it's a wild animal, no, that's not the kind of, it's not zoo animal practice. So we see lots of birds, lots of small mammals like ferrets and rabbits and guinea pigs and things, reptiles, from big tortoises and big snakes. So it's a fun variety. I continue to work one day a week at the Ness Exotic Wellness Center in Lisle, and it's always challenging. I've got 3 young doctors there that I can sort of mentor. It makes me very excited to get up and go to work every day because I know it's going to be a challenge. I know it's going to be different. It's not, veterinary medicine presents that kind of challenge. Sure.
I got a question. I've had a couple of rabbits over my lifetime, so obviously you take care of them, but you just brought up snakes. How does one take care of a snake? I'm not a reptile person, but it's like,
Well, first of all, we aren't dealing with venomous snakes. Okay? So you have to take care of a snake by deciding what the problem is. And most of the time it's coming in with something that's visual. Snakes get in, people feed live prey to them, and maybe that moment he doesn't feel like eating or something spooked him, and he goes to sleep, the prey goes over and starts chewing on him. So they come in with wounds. That's one of the things. Some things could be associated with reproduction. Some things, like with a great big tortoise, we had a big tortoise about the size of this table, and it had a big bladder stone, like not a kidney stone, but something in the urinary bladder. And it was as big as my fist. Well, in order to get in there, you got to saw a hole in the shell, go in surgically, remove it, and then glue it back. So it's kind of fun.
Wow.
Those are challenging things.
So is this, obviously this was part of your reinventing yourself, so to speak, after baseball.
Absolutely.
That's great planning. I hope the young players out there, a lot of them make a lot of money that they don't have to reinvent
they're the ones with the exotic
pets. Yeah, you see, we had to have a job. When we were playing, we made so much money that we only had to have one extra job.
One extra job. Exactly. Longtime Cub pitcher, 66 to 69, Rich Nye joining us on the Rewind Sports 60. Your thoughts and reflection on Yosh Kawano, who just passed away last week.
Special fellow. We all would go up to him, and we would, little guy running around the clubhouse with his little pad in the back pocket, and he was keeping track of every drink you had or every beer you took. At that time, we could drink beer in the clubhouse after the game. And at the end of the month, he said, well, this is what you owe the clubhouse, and you take care of it, because he always took care of it.
Right.
Everything was always cleaned and set. Locker was always immaculate. If you asked him to, I'm going to an outing and I need some autograph balls, he always had them in his closet, signed by the whole team. He made sure everybody got on him, so it was terrific. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was quite a character for sure, and I was on his good side. I didn't have any problems with him. I approach him and talk with him about things, or even if I needed to get an interview with someone and they were in the clubhouse, he would
Wonderful.
sometimes help me out, go in there, ask the player to come on out and get an interview before the game. So
Clubhouse guy, PR guy.
yeah, I mean
He's part of the face of the franchise for I
Right.
think 7 decades. So.
exactly.
Well, you know, I heard originally the story about Yosh was that he was a caddy for Mr. Wrigley when they go out golfing in spring training, and Mr. Wrigley would hit the ball, and sometimes it would not be visible in play, you know.
Of course.
And Yosh would run out ahead of everybody, and he had balls in his pocket, and he'd drop it. Oh, it's right here. And you know, the playing partners never said anything; they just let it go.
Yeah.
It's executive privilege.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, you're talking about a guy who had the opportunity to go to Frank Sinatra's house for dinner.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
saying something right there for sure. Let's speed up. We talked with Ferguson Jenkins earlier in the broadcast, and he talked about the type of workhorse, and we know the numbers, and he's a Hall of Famer, but he talked about the numbers that he would log in on the mound. What was it like for you as a pitcher? Because we compare your era to the era today. These guys get a hangnail and they're out for 3 months, you know, because they can't handle it. But back in your era, you guys got the ball, you got the rock, you got on the bump, and you started hurling. What was it?
And actually, the exciting part was when you were given the ball, you knew that they expect you to pitch a complete game. You went out to pitch 9 innings, and you know somebody might have been keeping track of the number of pitches, but it was more what is your performance. And you get late in the game, they're not looking down the bullpen to say we're going to bring our specialist in, because there were no real specialists. We did have a super relief pitcher in Phil Regan, and we had some other older players that came in that were really good relief pitchers, but not a specialist, because they might be brought in the second inning. There was no somebody saved for the last inning to close out the game. So you throw lots of innings, and our goal was to pitch every 4 days. That's right. That kept a good rotation going, and when you had someone like Fergie automatically pitched every 4 days, and the rest of us fit into whatever the game schedule was. And here's the reason. Back in those days, we had doubleheaders.
Right.
So there were times when you'd rain out, and they didn't have a way, they couldn't extend things. They couldn't play night games, so you had to play doubleheaders, Sunday doubleheaders, Saturday doubleheaders. And I do recall having to make up some games. It was the middle of the '67 season or something, and we had 4 doubleheaders in a row, with a game before, no day off before, and no day off after. So I mean, you've got 10 games. You could look that up in the records.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding.
You have 4 doubleheaders back to back.
So I remember starting the game on Friday. I think I pitched 9 innings, but didn't get a complete game at the time. They won it in the 10th. And then I pitched again, second game of a doubleheader on Monday. Again, going to go 9 innings. So, but that's how you train. That's how you worked out. You got your arm set for that. Ideally, you were physically fit. But if I had to pitch in a game like yesterday, which I went to the ballpark and watched that, no, 95-degree heat like that, I don't know how they win as many innings as they did, throwing as hard as they do.
And apparently 3 twins had to go into the clubhouse.
Right, exactly.
No surprise.
Exactly.
Yeah, no surprise. No
Rich,
surprise.
you're an intelligent man, doctor.
Thank you.
We appreciate you joining us on the program. We talk about the different eras, sabermetrics, all the analytics that go into the game today.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's wonderful, but I don't think you can just compare. It's apples to oranges as you go from, let's say, the 60s and 70s to the multi-contracts to the specialists. Baseball is not played the way I played it. We played mostly because we loved the game and it was fun. The fact that they were paying us was amazing, okay? And we just looked forward to next year and never thought about, we wouldn't be able to play, that we would be physically hurt. And I don't think, if you looked at statistics, I don't think you'd find a lot of people going on the disabled list like they do now. Because now there's this huge insurance that's on their contracts and whatever that says, if I can't play, you still got to pay me my $1.5 million a month.
Right.
Huge changes in that. And then starting pitchers, if they can go 100 pitches, that's a great game.
Right.
It might be 3 innings, but that's a great game. And
Right.
I go, for me, a great game for me was completing the game.
Right.
Getting the ball at the end of the game, gone 9 innings. Again, with a W behind my name, that was
Right.
obviously better, but not always.
And it's interesting because it appears that the numbers have taken the place of passion and guts. Not to say that these guys don't have the passion to play the game, but and Joe Madden kind of struggled with it when the Cubs invited him to become their next manager because
Right.
he's a gut manager. Ozzie
100%.
Guillen on the South Side with the 2005 White Sox, managed from the gut.
Right.
But now it's like they want you to, well, we know that this player here, player A, hits the ball to left center.
You didn't get the full
with
chart, Jerry?
Yeah. And you
We
got
had
all
a
these,
PowerPoint about it during spring training.
You got all
Wow.
the blue lines and the red lines going, well, he's strong in this area, in this area. I mean,
Well, okay, so we go back to the 60s, and they said, you'd chart a game. You're the pitcher for the following day against that team. So you chart it, and you're watching the batters. Well, of course, if I'm left-handed and they're all right-handed, they've got right-handed pitchers the day before, I'm not seeing the same batters.
Right.
So, but I'm charting pitches and keeping track of it and whatever. I don't remember ever having a sit-down with Randy Hundley to discuss how we were going to pitch the game. In other words, have a strategy. You go out on the mound, you see what you're throwing that particular day. He's watching you and he says, hey, he's got his curveball's working pretty good today, or I like his changeup. So Randy's thinking that. He's not so much looking at the batter as he's working with you to get you to be the best you can that day with whatever stuff you brought to the mound.
right.
And now, again, they didn't have speed guns back in the 60s. I know I threw at least 95 or 96 if the temperature was that.
Right.
But the speed that these kids throw, they work out all year long. They're in better physical shape than we were and better conditioned, I think. But maybe all that has also led them to become easily injured. And they don't play with any, I'm a little sore today, so I'm not going to be in the lineup because I've got to protect my contract.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now look at it. In your day, I mean, not to make it one of those in my day kind of deals, but I mean,
That's what it is.
In the past, you were a ball player.
That's it.
You can't do it. Next.
Yeah.
Now it's an investment. It's
Oh,
we can't-
totally.
Everything's preventative, which
Well, you find that's why I had 4 years.
yeah.
They just say we've seen your usefulness. You're done. Thank you for your time, but we're moving on. We got someone to replace you, and it's not costing them anything.
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't
Right.
cost them anything.
Rich Nye, 66-69 Cubs, joining us on the program.
So if I may say one thing,
Sure.
I have created a passion lately. I'm a wood turner. You're going to just shake your head and go, I'm not sure what that is. But you work with a lathe, you work in your shop, you work with fabulous pieces of wood. You can make things round like the table in front of us. You can make useful things like salad bowls and plates. The reason I'm bringing this up is I'm a member of a couple of wood turning clubs in Chicago. I've been doing it for about 10 years now. And they have a symposium in Mundelein called Turn On Chicago. And if your audience would go to Turn On Chicago 2018, they'll see what I'm talking about. Amazing pieces of useful wood, and then there's artistic wood and what people can do with wood nowadays, and the grains and the colors and everything. It's exciting. So that's my new passion. I have
Wood
to say.
turner.
Yeah.
What is it? Turn Chicago 2018?
Turn On Chicago.
Turn On
2018.
Chicago 2018. Check it out. Wood turner. Marty B, we can pick up a new hobby now.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
sure could. Hey,
There's a few old
Thanks
guys
for bringing
in
that
the
into the
club, for
conversation,
sure.
Rich.
No, that's okay. Rich, thank you
yeah.
so very, very much.
And if they want to see things that I have done, they could go to Tumblr.
Tumblr.
nyewoodturning.tumblr.com, and they can see some of the pieces that I've made, and I even have a store on Etsy for
Awesome.
Nye Wood Turning. So
Awesome.
It's
And I
kind of
will-
fun. And
Rich,
I'm-
thank you.
oh, dude.
Thank you.
And I will never forget my visit to your veterinary office.
Thanks, Marty. I appreciate
Oh,
your
you're welcome. You're
So
welcome.
you had the turtle, right?
I had a pigeon.
No, it was a pigeon.
Yeah, I had a
I've been called
pigeon.
a pigeon
My very
before.
good
Hey,
friend
so
and
you
I.
and me both. Maybe I should have known this, but my neighbors
Thank you,
have an
Rich.
African parrot.
Yeah, African.
Can live to be 85 years old.
They can live at least that long, yes.
Do they,
You know.
do they collect Social Security?
Well, theirs is 23 years old right now.
Does it talk?
Well,
Yeah.
here's
So
the
if you get
problem.
him a job, maybe you can collect Social Security.
Hey,
But you get
don't
those,
give them any ideas.
You get those old time, those birds that live a long time, or a pet that lives a long time. And you say, well, okay, at our age we start getting a pet like that. Well, who's going to take care of it when I'm gone, and then when my kids are gone, and
Right.
my grandkids?
That's
So
crazy.
you've got to introduce your kids and your grandkids to these animals, like the big tortoises.
Yeah, yeah. Rich, thank you so very much for joining
Thank
us
you.
on the
My
program.
pleasure.
Folks, keep it
Nice
locked
to meet
in.
you
The hits
guys.
just keep
Appreciate
coming.
it.
This is the
Glad to
Rewind
know
Sports
you.
60 broadcasting from Saranello's Ristorante Italiano, right in the heart of Wheeling. Jerry Riles, the Italian Stallion, Danny Carlino, and the man on the street, Marty B. You've got the Rewind.